So we're here again.
We've recorded 8 episodes. Can you believe it?
It's been a wild ride, Clark. Wild ride.
Yes. What was that? What was that phrase we found the other day? That was not people were up in arms, but it was the one about temperature or scientists that were in a raging. The debate rages on.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
So we've been raging on for the past week, and here we are, ready to go.
Let's get to it.
I should say that there's a chance that you'll hear crows in the background because the crows have been really loud today.
Yeah, we've had that interruption before.
Yes, crows are actually a really big issue in Tokyo, and they have to do a lot of things to try to curb them and you should see these crows. I mean, they're massive. Like, if one, we talked about the movie The Birds.
Yes.
When you see the crows here, I'd be scared to take one of these things on, let alone like hundreds.
Are they crows or are they ravens? Isn't a raven larger than a crow?
I don't know, actually, but I mean, I know that they're crows, but I don't know anything about the difference between a crow and a raven. We'll have to look that up.
I don't know either.
How would you rate your week in terms of general, from 1 to 10? How do you feel about your week?
Oh, I would put it at a 5. I was sick this week. I've had a fair bit of anxiety hit me recently. Part of it is because my assistant has been gone to Hong Kong for a couple of weeks, 2.5 weeks actually, and the level of work got extremely high, and of course I had to pick up some of the slack that she would normally pick up, which is fine. I was part of the deal, right? People are allowed vacation; they should be allowed to enjoy it, and it was great. I'm glad she got away, but my workload increased intensely, and I think it took a little bit of a toll on me because on Tuesday afternoon, Monday she came back, and then on Tuesday afternoon, I was really, really, I felt terrible. So I decided to just take off for the day. I went home and went to bed, and then Wednesday I was also feeling sick. Thursday I stayed home as an extra day, and then Friday I went back to work. So I really missed 2.5 days, 2 full days and half a day this week, and Friday was a very busy day. I stayed very late on Friday to get a bunch of work done. Mm-hmm. But I would say the whole time I was sick trying to kind of take care of myself, I had a horrible anxious feeling. And that horrible anxious feeling is that whole idea that I'm sick. I can't afford to be sick. I can't imagine how much work I'm going to have to catch up on when I get back. Because I'm probably like many people in a mid to senior level executive position where you get literally, if I went away for a week, I would come back with, I could come back, if I was gone for 7 days, I could likely come back to close to 1,700 emails. I get close to 100 emails each day. That might be small compared to some people. I don't know. But at any given moment, I could have easily over 100 emails in my inbox in one day. It's difficult when you have to come back and you see that the number of your inbox is 300 or 400 emails, or when you've been gone for a week, it's approaching the 2,000 unopened emails, and you're like, oh my gosh. And it's almost impossible to know where to start, right? So anyway, all that to say, my anxiety level was quite high when I went back to work on Friday, and I wouldn't call it a great week. No. But I mean, we have them, right? So
Cal Newport, he's thinking email is like pre-assembly line manufacturing. And that whatever's coming next, that I don't know if he's going to try to invent it or exactly what, he doesn't know yet, because it's like his 4th book, but he doesn't know exactly what it's going to say, is he believes there's something out there that is going to revolutionize the way we do work, akin to the invention of the assembly line. And it's going to be that email will be looked at as, how did people do it this way before?
That's interesting, and I'm very anxious to find out what that is. And when you're talking about that, I'm starting to think about, do you remember the internet when it was like pre-cable access, pre-DSL, when it was just, you had to take a telephone line and plug it into your computer, and it made that weird boingy sound when it was connecting to the internet. And I mean, that is a sound. It had that screech in there too. So there's like a screech and a couple of boings. And then, you know, then you were connected, right? When that happened, I mean, that was the pinnacle of, like, you know, next level technology, right? You were like, oh my God, we're on the internet, right? Boing, click, ding, ding, whatever it was, whatever the sound was. And then all of a sudden, that became the sound for ancient technology, right? Because now when you hear that, you're like, oh man, that was so 1995, right? So I'm really anxious to find out what next level communication there is beyond email, because I'm sick of it. I hate it.
I think there's been some attempts made by these email programs to fix some of it. Like they try to, you can bunch them or categorize some of them into conversations, like topics. My outlook, I think you can maybe do it on like you can kind of categorize. Like if you go into Gmail has done this. I think a couple of other programs have done this, where they try to help you with that thread, like keeping the threads together, but it's horrible.
But there's still that total number of unread emails. So yes, if you and I have a conversation, it keeps the thread together and everything is all bunched together. But when if there are 3 or 4 people in that thread, they're all connected. So you could have 5 unopened emails in that one thread in response to whatever it was that originally started the thread. And then you can have several threads that have the same thing. And that's what I walk into every day at work. I have dozens, 20, 30 of these. I've got 30 threads with each response from the 4 people that were copied on it, right? So, you know, you times that by 20 threads, you got that right there. That's 80 emails.
I can really see how a book like this or a solution like this, and I think others have tried to make the solution. Things like programs like Slack are designed to be to help with this. So you're having conversations, because that's what email has become. It's conversations back and forth and putting balls in one court and back into another and CCing a whole bunch of people. And you think
and there's a lot of covering your butt, right? So you're always, I hate email so much that when I come home, people that send me email on Gmail or, I share an account with my wife as well. I don't want to open it. There's stuff that sits in there for a week before I get to it. And I see it. I look at it. I see it in my inbox. And I'm like, I don't want to. All I do all day is answer fucking email. I don't want to come home and sit with my laptop on my lap and answer more email. I don't. Yeah. I'm sorry. So really the best way to get a hold of me, if you're going to get a hold of me, is, a quick text if you want to say hi, or which is kind of stupid because in a way it's like this like mini email. It's like email light, right? Yep. Texting. And then but really the best way is to pick up a phone. And I know there are probably people out there be like, oh my gosh, have a real conversation? It's so old fashioned. Yeah. You know what? If you want to get a hold of me, I'm so tired of typing at the end of the day, at the end of the week. I'd much rather have a conversation. I hate email so much. I don't even know. You just opened like a Pandora's box of shite that I don't like.
Well, it's something we'll have to work out. Maybe we can solve this problem somehow, and maybe by episode 29 we'll have a solution.
Okay, let's do that. Can I talk about something that I heard at work earlier this week that bothered the crap out of me? The misuse of the word travesty. So this is something that has bothered me for many years. And I think a lot of people use the word travesty by saying things like, did you hear about that little boy that got, hit by the car the other day, and, they say he's not going to make it, and, what a travesty. No, that is not a travesty. That's a tragedy. That's what a tragedy is. A travesty is a absurd or distorted representation of something. That is not an absurd or distorted representation of something. And it bothers me to no end when someone misuses the word travesty. I want to reach through the phone and strangle them.
So what is your...
Yeah, we were in a meeting. We were in a meeting, a Skype meeting earlier this week, and somebody said that. It's a travesty. It's just absolute travesty. No, it's not. What you mean is a tragedy. But could you imagine if I said that? No, excuse me, Bill. I think what you mean is a tragedy. Sorry, because just so you know, I just want the Webster definition of the word travesty.
read it out.
Right?
Let's everybody just pause them. And if anyone else in this room is also, I want you all to be aware. This is the definition, so that none of you will make the same mistake Bill just did.
It's just one of those pet peeves, and I know everybody has one. Everybody's got a pet peeve, but yeah, that's a beauty. That's one that drives me absolutely crazy.
I think you have an overly emotional reaction to this.
I do.
I think you're right. It's misuse of the word. You seem to have where someone might have like a 3 out of 5 bother level on when it's misused. Yours is definitely in the 4.8.
It's approaching 5 for sure. It's like DEFCON level 4.
Right. I mean, on that note, I have a couple. I have one that bothers me in particular, and actually it's not the same reaction as yours. It's more of I'm not really sure what the right expression is, but it's the term I could care less, or I couldn't care less. What do you think's the right term between those two?
I couldn't care less is the right one. So, for instance, if you tell me something that I don't care about, I would just say I couldn't care any less than I do right now. I mean, I'm at the absolute bottom of my caring level. But if I said I could care less, you'd be like, oh, you could care less than you do about that right now? So there, you haven't reached bottom yet? There's another level of caring less than you do right now?
Apparently, according to Workopolis, it's the mother of all wrong phrases. And the author author of this article says, even I get crazy when people use it. So you think this guy's travesty. The other, for if you're interested in hearing some of the others, for all intensive purposes. The phrase is actually for all intents and purposes.
Yes, it is common. I did know that it was all for all intents and purposes.
Well, here's one that I hear a lot. I did a complete 360 on this. And so, example, a week after accepting the proposal, he did a complete 60 and decided to reject our offer.
A complete
360?
A complete 360.
So in this person's mind, it's like they turned around and changed their mind. But
that's a complete 180.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Here's another one. It's a dog world.
Dog eat dog world.
It's a dog eat dog world. And one of the problems is Snoop Dogg, his third single off his 1993 debut album, is a song called Doggy Dog World. So now you have a rapper who's gone out and perpetuated the phrase even further. There's a couple others here, but irregardless.
Irregardless is one that drives me bonkers. I can't handle that. I don't think anybody in an executive position should misquote or mispronounce any of the words that we just said. They should not be saying doggy dog world, irregardless, for all intensive purposes. Like, you can't be saying that stuff. No, not at that level, not at the executive level. And if you don't know the proper way to say these things, then your executive card should be taken away from you.
I will finish this little topic on the one that that I was baffled by. I do this. You've got another thing coming.
Okay. And what's wrong with that one? You've got another thing coming.
You've got another thing coming. The correct phrase is actually, you've got another think coming.
No, I challenge that. That's
the
fake.
idea being, if you think that, then you've got another think coming.
No. I've never heard that.
Nobody
ever.
has.
Never.
Nobody has.
No, that's fake news. Somebody wrote that.
I challenge you, just like the lunar landing, which you were supposed to do
To
your
look it
homework
up?
on that,
Yeah.
and I don't think you probably did. But no, the correct phrase is, you've got another think coming.
Is that real?
100%.
Really? Okay, I'm going to check that one out. You've got another think coming. And the reasoning is because if I think that, then I have another think
Correct.
coming.
So this author, the author of this article, he says he agrees with you, and I agree with it too, that he says nuts to that. Who uses think as a noun? You've got another
Nuts?
thing coming.
Oh, God. You must be
As
British.
in, if you expect one thing, you've got another thing coming. Makes perfect sense to this author, and he will continue to use it thusly.
Nice. Good. Okay.
I think
I'm
he's
with
right.
that author. Yeah.
I am too.
Okay. End on a light note. A couple of things that I thought would be fun to talk about for the last few minutes. What's the weirdest thing that you've ever seen in someone's home? I mean, I've seen some strange ornaments in people's houses. Mm-hmm. Things that you look at and you're like, why would you put that in your house? Like, I'll say this about my parents. My parents have had the same house for a really long time, and I don't know how this happened, but my dad came across a pair of these bull horns from a cow. But
Yep.
they weren't like, and then they're the ones that go kind of straight out like this. So it wasn't from your regular Holstein cow bull or something like that. It was from some strange, I don't know, like a South American cattle or something. And there was these horns that came straight out from the skull that they popped off and then mounted to some piece of. My dad thought it was fantastic and loved it, and it's mounted in the basement. They're in the basement, and they've been there for years. My mom hates it. I never understood why he put them there, but hey, it's their house. They can do what they want. So
That reminds me of the leg lamp in A Christmas Story.
so good. My Uncle Ray. I know I probably shouldn't say names.
Is he the Drakkar Noir guy?
No, different guy. But he has or had a miniature version of the leg lamp.
Okay.
And it's actually pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is actually cool.
If it was full outsized and in his living room window, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, no.
But that's like a novelty item. So
Yeah.
I just thought of something that answers your question. I went into somebody's bathroom on their main floor, and they had a toilet and they had a urinal
Oh, nice. I actually
installed
think,
in their house.
no, that is actually cool.
I'm not saying it's not cool. Well, it was just weird to me.
It is a bit weird. I've also been in someone's house that had a urinal as well. And
Oh, really?
Yeah. I actually thought to myself, that's not a bad idea. Like at first
Yeah.
when I walked in, I had the same reaction. I was like, what? Did I just walk into a public toilet? But but no, I kind of thought to myself, you know what? I understand this. I understand, the idea of it. It's actually a pretty cool idea. Okay, one last question. One What would be the coolest animal to scale up to the size of a horse?
God. The coolest animal. I can think of animals that would be just scary if you scaled up to the size. Imagine scaling a mouse up to the size of a horse.
No, that would be frightening.
Or a rat.
Yeah.
Oof. Cute, coolest animal. Well, you've seen it go the other way, miniaturizing things like miniature horses, ponies, and stuff like that. If you could scale it up to the size of a horse,
Coolest animal to scale up to the size of a horse.
I just can't think of something that wouldn't be scary. Wouldn't make it the scariest animal. So
Can you imagine
I don't,
taking like a flea and scaling it up to the size of a horse.
yeah.
Or
Like
I agree with you.
or-
A
I can't.
fly. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna say there isn't any. There's nothing that I would want to see go from being extremely tiny to the size of a horse that wouldn't scare the crap out of me.
Is there something fluffy and cute, like a bunny, like even a giant rabbit?
No, that's scary.
I know. That's what I know.
And we've seen that. You see that at Easter when you get these crazos that dress up like Easter bunnies, and then you're supposed to put your kid on their laps and take a photo.
Oh gosh,
It's scary. It's creepy.
That is scary. All right, should I do one more? Should I find one more?
Sure.
What's the best Wi-Fi name that you've ever seen? So, like, before I mention that, or let me just qualify it. Like, you know, when you go and you have to connect on someone's Wi-Fi, you're like, oh, hey, what's your Wi-Fi password? And then you hit your phone or your laptop or whatever, and you look for the Wi-Fis, and it'll bring up like all the Wi-Fis within reach, within that zone, right? And so you'll get, that person's Wi-Fi, and you'll get all the people around them.
Sure. Like Bill's Wi-Fi or the Grayson family Wi-Fi. I think the one that I saw that I thought was pretty cool was FBI surveillance truck.
That is awesome. You saw that? You did?
Yeah.
That's real?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
There's a guy in my neighborhood that has Get Off My LAN.
LAN?
LAN.
LAN,
Get Off
like
My
Land
LAN.
Area
Yeah.
Network.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, FBI surveillance truck.
That is fantastic. Oh, that's great. I'm going to change ours to that. I'm going to do that.